News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
Apparently, accidental shootings have taken the lives of two young people in different parts of the state. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning for Friday, August 19th, 2016. What a blow we had yesterday. My goodness, the South Hills really took it. Severe storm. We'll get to that story here in a moment. Right now, it's calm. We have a very relatively cool 52 degrees in Missoula right now under a mostly clear sky. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Spray Green Lawn, providing lawn aeration, fertilization, and weed control. You can save 15% off your first application. Just mention this message. Call 207-9273. Our top story this morning, KGVO News received word yesterday from the Missoula County Sheriff's Office that a 20-year-old man was killed from an accidental gunshot wound here in Missoula. Spokesperson Brenda Bassett said the incident occurred at a residence on Kensington Street at about 6:30 last evening. The Missoula County coroner is currently investigating. No names have yet been released. And authorities say a 9-year-old boy who was shot at a home in Belgrade has died. Belgrade Police Chief E.J. Clark told the Bozeman Daily Chronicle the boy, whose name has not been released, was unresponsive when officers arrived at the scene yesterday morning. Clark said the weapon involved was a semi-automatic handgun. At least one other boy was in the house when the shot was fired. Investigators have not yet released any information about the circumstances of the shooting, and no one is in custody. Well, the South Hills of Missoula were hit hard with a very strong series of thunderstorms yesterday evening with a combination of winds, heavy rain, and hail. Meteorologist Dan Zump with the National Weather Service has details.
There were some reports of hail up to about quarter size and hail covering the ground, some localized low-lying area flooding, and some power outages, some trees uprooted, so looked pretty nasty.
Zump said it was the direction of the storm came from that set it apart from any normal thunderstorm.
We had a push of cold air coming down from the north, and it was one of those things where all the ingredients came together and intensified along the cold front. It's very unusual, though, because most of our strong thunderstorms like that either come straight from the west or from the southwest. So this is one of those outliers that doesn't happen typically from the northwest.
Northwestern Energy crews were busy restoring power to hundreds of homes and businesses due to the storm yesterday. Investigators searching for the body of a missing military veteran have found human remains on property southwest of Great Falls where the killing apparently occurred. Brandon Kraft has been charged with deliberate homicide in the February death of 28-year-old Adam Petzak. Petzak, who had been living in a rental unit on Kraft's property, was reported missing back in March. Charging documents say investigators determined Kraft was receiving money removed from Petzak's bank account shortly after his disability payments were made via direct deposit. Officers questioned Kraft, and court records say he confessed to killing Petzak, hiding his body, pawning the rifle, and selling his truck. Investigators say Kraft drew a map where Petzak's remains could be found. The remains were located yesterday and were taken to the state crime lab here in Missoula for autopsy and identification. Missoula Rural Fires provided an update to the apartment fire that occurred late Wednesday. Acting Battalion Chief Ron Lupke said the initial reports that a barbecue may have been the cause of the fire have proven to be incorrect.
So the fire is still under investigation. The investigation team was down there most of the day today. And they have determined that the barbecue actually was not the cause, but the actual cause is still being investigated at this time.
Lupke said whatever the cause, the fire did a great deal of damage to the 12-unit complex.
Everybody that was present was evacuated safely, no injuries to any civilians or fire personnel. We are estimating about $350,000 damage right now, and probably about another $300,000 in property that was saved.
Lupke said currently none of the 12 apartments are able to be occupied. All occupants are being assisted by friends and family members, as well as by the American Red Cross. The Montana Supreme Court has rejected a request to block a November ballot initiative that would authorize $200 million in state bonds over 10 years for medical research. 3 labor unions, a taxpayers group, and 3 state legislators had asked the High Court to rule Initiative 181 unconstitutional. The plaintiffs said the measure violates the state constitution because it commits public money to a private group. The initiative would create a Montana Biomedical Research Authority that could request up to $20 million a year for 10 years through state general obligation bonds. Money would go to research in brain diseases, brain injuries, and mental illness. The Supreme Court issued a 5-0 decision on Wednesday. It says state law does not allow the court to exercise original jurisdiction over challenges to an initiative's constitutionality. Montana University system students can face severe penalties for cheating in their classes. Well, this week news came out about a cheating ring at Montana Tech in Butte. Deputy Commissioner of Higher Education Kevin McCrae confirms a handful of students have been expelled.
I hope all the listeners are sitting down, but I've got to divulge something, that for as long as there have been schools and as long as there have been teachers, there have been, fortunately, a small number of students who don't follow the rules and try to cheat.
McCrae says students are expelled from Montana schools every year for similar violations, but that these stories often don't get reported by the university system. In this case, the Montana Standard, a newspaper, found emails about the expulsions.
It is a fact that 15 students this summer were caught cheating by faculty, and they were subjected to Montana Tech's regular academic review committee process and investigation process, and were found to have committed the violation of academic dishonesty.
Academic dishonesty is a violation that all students should be aware of. It's clearly outlined in the student handbook the students receive in their freshman year, and if you're found guilty, you can indeed be expelled. Missoula County School District 1's budget is showing a lot of decreases this year, although property owners will see an overall increase in the amount they pay for schools due to the recent passage of over $150 million in bonds. Superintendent Mark Thane explains.
If we look at 8 of the 9 budgeted funds, we see a reduction actually of about $13.46 on a $200,000 home. We're well aware, however, that the bond issue that was passed has a significant impact on those taxpayers, and that's to the tune of about a $90.86 increase on a $200,000 home annually.
Thane says the large bond project was a factor when deciding on whether or not the school system would run a levy.
We chose, on the heels of our bond issue, not to run a general operating levy this year. We felt like we had enough capacity in the budget to get through. Probably the most significant reduction, we had a building reserve that expired. The voters had approved it 5 years ago. We're done collecting that revenue, so that's a $12.50 reduction to individual tax bills.
Of all 9 budgeting categories for Missoula County Public Schools, only 2 saw increases. There was a 4.13% increase in tuition and a 33.65% increase in debt service. Our News Talk time now is 6:12.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Partly to mostly sunny skies today with our high temperatures in the upper 70s. It will be breezy with wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. Tonight, clear skies, lows in the mid-40s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.